Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Sports Department Podcast Wrestling Recap version, where myself, Stephen Clark, and only Jesse Norman today are here to break down SummerSlam 2021 and NXT Takeover 36. It was a weekend full of wrestling, some good amount of bad as well. We're going to talk about all that, including something very special that happened this Friday on AEW Rampage. We're going to start with that. But before we get into all that fun stuff, Jesse, how are you doing?
Hey, I can't complain too much, We got a full weekend of wrestling, like you said. Some was good, some was bad. There were some dream matches. There were some not so dreamy matches.
No.
So looking forward to getting into it.
Yes, of course. And as you guys notice, this is the winners podcast right here.
Winners pod.
The winners pod. Justin's not here because he didn't win a pay-per-view. Shocker this weekend. He didn't win a pay-per-view. But I'm going to update the score and who won each pay-per-view because I won SummerSlam and you won NXT Takeover 36.
And do you know why you won SummerSlam?
Charlotte Flair.
I bet against Charlotte.
So did I. That all besides, the whole mix up with the whole Sasha and Bianca thing.
Yeah.
Besides that one, besides the Charlotte one, I would have had a perfect card for SummerSlam. But no, after SummerSlam and after Takeover, standings are basically the same because we didn't move anywhere. You have 11 wins. I have 7. Justin has 3. I'm ready. I think Justin's kind of out. We're in August right now.
I think he's out.
I think he's out. And for me
unless you lose everyone.
Yeah, no, he still has a chance for second, but I don't think first is in the works for him anymore.
No.
And it's gonna be tough for me too because we're already in August, basically September already, and September, October, November, December, 4 more regular WWE pay-per-views, maybe the Saudi one included there too. Couple takeovers. It's gonna be close. It's gonna be tough, but like I said, you're leading with 11. I have 7. Justin has 3. Wow, that's sad. All right, let's get into our regular podcast right now, and like I teased in the beginning, we're gonna talk about AEW Rampage, and there are rumors running rampant from the last couple weeks to months to honestly 7 years of when this guy was going to return to pro wrestling, and it happened. It finally happened. We've waited so long for this. I don't care which company, I don't care what happened, whatever. CM Punk has joined the All Elite Wrestling roster, one of the best pops I've heard in my entire life, maybe the best one. Grown men were crying in the crowd. Just an amazing promo he said too, like with everything, how he left pro wrestling in 2005 and came back in 2021 stating that WWE is not pro wrestling, it's sports entertainment. But wow, what a moment, what a night. What were your thoughts on this, Jesse?
I mean, it's hard to put into words. The electricity of the crowd, kind of the way it went down, because we talked about it on the pod, right before Rampage, and I was like, what do you think happens? And you're like, we'll probably hear something.
Yeah.
And I even said, we were watching it and I was like, don't expect anything until probably like the last minute or so, where like he probably just comes out, like it's probably going to be a little bit. No, he started the show, cut a 10-15 minute promo.
Pretty long.
Went around, hugged all the family, did everything, and it felt like a really big deal.
Yeah, I agree. It felt like we were kids again in a way, like that feeling without like the dirt. I know like this was rumored for whatever, and it was almost confirmed he was going to the company.
But it's been rumored so many times.
You don't know what to believe.
I agree. This was the first one with legs, but it was still kind of a thing where we were like, I don't know, like you don't know until you literally see him walking down the stage.
Yeah, and once even when the music hit, I wasn't 100% sure. I thought it was going to be like MJF walking down the ramp for a second, like Paul Heyman pulled on one of the Raws, like right a couple months after he was fired or whatever, or left the company. But no, it was one of the better wrestling moments I've watched in my entire 15 years of watching wrestling or so. it was just great all around. And even to add, like, the icing on top of the cake, he's not just back to, be an enforcer or be on commentary, which he said he might do eventually down the line. But at All Out, he is versing Darby Allin in a match. And you talked about it, I talked about it, dream matches that we possibly saw this weekend and stuff. This is one of the dream matches. Darby is one of the hottest stars in AEW, up and coming stars in AEW. And granted, I don't care if CM Punk is 42 years old. I don't care that he went to UFC and had a horrible career there. You don't lose the skill like that. I think CM Punk's going to be just fine in this match. Darby is a perfect first opponent for him. Similar-ish skills. Darby's a little more high flying than Punk is, but similar. So I'm very excited for All Out to see this.
Yeah, I'm glad they're giving us Darby Punk as his first match, because I don't think you want to fool around too long and kind of wait it out and see when you do that. Darby is one of the youngest stars, I would say, in pro wrestling, because, I mean, besides NXT wise on the main roster, who is a young male superstar that's like doing really big things, in WWE? I would say probably the biggest is Matt Riddle.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Exactly. And he's not even that young.
That's a tag division, and it's tag division as well. Yeah, he's paired with Randy, but
he's 35, Matt Riddle.
Oh, okay, that's not young.
But it seems young because he's new to the main roster.
Because he's new to the main roster.
But there's Darby, none. There's none. It's Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley's the only one. That's
and Bianca. But again, those are female wrestlers. They kind of, and that's, they came from NXT, which NXT is great at developing wrestlers and having them be young stars. But then when they get to the main roster, we know how that normally goes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we'll see how all that, transpires. But Darby is an incredible young talent, and pairing him with Sting has been great for AEW. I think the way that they have used legends is really well done, because you don't need to bring back legends and put them in the ring. No. Some people just like seeing legends that they used to see on TV. They don't need to be in the ring and wrestling. Sometimes they just like to see them. And I think AEW has consistently done that a hell of a lot better than WWE.
Yeah. And even Big Show, Paul White's been with the company for a little bit too, and he's having his first match at All Out as well.
Who's he wrestling?
Isn't it the guy who used to be with Cody? What's his name? This is horrible that I don't know this off the top of my head. QT Marshall.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, QT Marshall. And even I'm kind of just excited to see Big Show in a different company wrestle. I know it's the Big Show and how boring and forces people wanting him to retire for so many years and all that crap, but I'm kind of excited just to see it for a change, something different.
I think too, a lot of people are, there's rumors that Daniel Bryan is going to be coming to AEW soon.
Yeah.
There's a lot of reports that The Fiend, once his no compete clause is up, he's going to come to AEW. Some people are like, oh, well, they're going to run out of their checkbook. They're WCWing it. They are getting wrestlers who can still wrestle. I mean, yeah, Punk is 42, but how old is AJ still going? And AJ's been on a full-time schedule, and he's 44.
Exactly.
You look at Cena's, no spring chicken either.
No.
And Daniel Bryan just put on a hell of a show at Mania, has had good matches all before. Fiend was one of the most important characters in WWE. These aren't, they're not hiring Mick Foley in 2006 to be the TNA world champion. They're not bringing Hulk Hogan in 2011 to be your biggest on-screen character. They're rolling out the checkbook for these big name guys, but guess what? They're still big names.
Yeah. That bringing that back around to, the difference in the companies, WWE keeps rolling out Goldberg. I'm granted he's in phenomenal shape, but enough's enough. And it's like, he's old now, and you could see it in the ring, and he almost like died too in a ring a couple of years ago.
We've said numerous times too, everybody's always, AEW can't make their own stars. These are still just all the indie guys, and they can't build anybody themselves. What young talent does WWE have right now on their main roster that isn't, compatible to what AEW's done? I mean, you have a main event consisting of Bobby Lashley, Drew McIntyre. I would say, you can throw Randy in there, AJ in there. None of those guys are young.
No.
Same thing with SmackDown. Yeah, Roman has been very dominant, and we're looking to maybe Big E making a run eventually. But for all the criticism of AEW, you can't make new stars, you don't know how to build young guys, I don't see that as much with the WWE problem going on as well. I think that is a problem across both brands, but AEW seems to be, I think, leaning more into bringing legends back and then helping them facilitate the young talent.
I 100% agree. You're right. You hit the nail on the head. I couldn't have said that any better, honestly. But nope, that does it for a little bit of CM Punk news there. We're gonna get into one more potential signee a little bit down later in the podcast, so stay tuned for that when we discuss where that person might be going. But let's jump into SummerSlam. Interesting pay-per-view. Let's just go match by match. Anything else you want to add into it, we'll just talk right through it. But let's start off with the opener, which was not a bad opener at all. Show started really, really good, which was AJ Styles and Omos defending their Raw tag team titles against RK Bro. And we all predicted it. It made the most sense. It's the funniest thing. It's the hottest thing on Raw. Basically, the only thing on Raw is RK Bro. And they won the tag titles, which was the right move. I see nothing wrong with this, and I'm enjoying this storyline.
Yeah, I like it. It was the only good thing to happen, I think, in the first 8 or so matches, besides a couple little things. But it was actually a good match.
Yeah.
I thought Riddle and Orton paired really well together. I really hope that this is the end of AJ in the tag division, because the main event needs him so badly. And I mean, the shakeup is coming, so maybe he gets moved to SmackDown and him and Omos get split, and that's kind of how they tell that story of Omos moving forward. But you move AJ back to SmackDown maybe for his last run, and you can run AJ Roman, or you keep AJ on Raw and you do AJ Bobby. But there is so much better things that you can be doing with AJ. That being said, RK Bro in the tag division is fantastic.
The only problem is that's all they got in the tag division right
now. That's
all
they got. They'll probably have them go against the Vikings. They'll probably do AJ and Omos until shakeup, because we're not positive when the shakeup is.
Yeah.
And then they'll probably do the Vikings.
I can't think of any other
Raw tag team. I can't think of another Raw tag team.
Me neither.
So that's that. But it was a good match.
Yeah.
I had no qualms with it. It was good.
I enjoyed it. And now I'm going to get into something that I didn't enjoy, which didn't need to be on the card. One of two matches that didn't need to be on the main card. And this is Alexa Bliss versus Eva Marie. My takeaways is that Doudrop and Eva Marie are seeming to split. So that's great, I guess. Change her name back to Piper. That'd be great. You can, push Eva Marie aside now. And honestly, I'm kind of getting sick of this Alexa Bliss gimmick too. It's not clicking with me. It's not clicking with me.
I still feel a way about it of you fired Bray Wyatt. You tried to give his gimmick to Alexa Bliss. First off, that doesn't work. Second off, as good as I think Alexa Bliss is, she's not as good at this as The Fiend was.
Mm-hmm.
The whole Lily thing, Lily is not the Firefly Funhouse characters that we had.
No.
It's weird. She doesn't talk. And I think they kind of got the Firefly Funhouse thing wrong. I think what we liked about it, I think they don't understand what we liked about it.
That's what everything is though with this company at this point. It's they don't understand the fans. And I think Punk even said it on his promo, like, having creative freedom without it going through like 20 to 30 people before it gets put on TV is like, it just ruins everything, and it's starting to ruin this too, and it's just unbearable to watch sometimes, and this is one of the things. But Alexa Bliss, what?
Yeah, this match was so boring that I opened a pack of baseball cards that I had,
opening
and I pulled a Tony Gwynn, and I got a Cal Ripken Jr.
Look at that.
So look at that.
You should burn the Cal Ripken card right in front of Justin.
Burn the Cal Ripken.
But now Alexa Bliss defeated Eva Marie. Whatever. Let's move on into a moment that was kind of cool. You saw Damien Priest defeat Sheamus for the U.S. title, which was a good match. Sheamus, one of the most underrated superstars of all time. Sheamus is fantastic, and an NXT guy, Damien Priest, who didn't really get much of his character or appearance or name change too much, winning the title basically how he came up as, except for they make him speak a little bit more Spanish now.
Yeah, they really pushed the Puerto Rican,
but that's fine. Yeah, like I didn't see too much of Raw last night. But did you see Karrion Kross?
I did see Karrion Kross.
Came out in a mask and suspenders.
It's it looks like Spartan gear in a way, like Spartacus gear.
Yeah, bad, not good.
So yeah,
that looks like a jobber to me. But anyways, Priest defeated Sheamus and is a U.S. champion, and I'm happy about that because I like Damien Priest.
I like Priest. I hope this doesn't like derail him, because like that's what the U.S. belt does. Like the U.S. belt hasn't meant anything. I'm literally trying to think of like when was the last U.S. reign that like mattered. And I genuinely cannot remember one before like Cena was doing the Open.
I was going to say that's the last time it felt important.
That's the last time the U.S. belt felt like it was anything.
Yeah.
You remember the Nakamura reign where he reigned for like 6 months and had like 3 matches the whole time?
Yep.
They give people the U.S. belt and then like forget about it. So maybe Priest can do a little bit more. For the record, too, also Priest is a young guy who would be moving up, but Damien Priest is not young.
Not in age, no.
He is a older fella.
Yes, he is. And all right, another match next on the card, which not much to talk about here. It's again what we all basically predicted and just makes sense, and nothing of importance came out of it, which was just the Usos beating the Mysterios to retain the titles. No Mysterios breakup.
Nope.
Just, a good match. It was a good match. Ray can go really well at his age.
Yeah, you got Ray in there. It's going to be a good match. The Usos are a good tag.
Not much to talk about here.
I don't hate Dominic as much as Justin does, but I'm getting there. There's just something about this kid that I'm like, just get him off my screen.
It's
I don't care.
Exactly a full year now of it has. He made his debut at SummerSlam last year.
And they haven't done anything.
No, he's just been
just
father-son gimmick.
Seth.
Yeah. And that's it. It needs to change. I can't picture either one as a heel as a thing too.
He can't turn on his dad, because I don't want to see Ray versus Dominic. And I also don't want to see weeks and weeks and months of Ray being like, Dominic, my son, Mia, come on, don't do this. And then Dominic just beating the crap out of him, because that's what they'll do. That's what they'll do, and you know it. And that's exactly what they'll do.
And obviously you can't turn Ray heel. And Dominic just doesn't have a tough looking face.
There should just be like a scene or something where Ray is like dropping him off at NXT. Yeah, buddy, it's been fun. We were the first ever father-son tag duo, but now you need to go and do your own.
It's the first day of school.
It's the first day of school, and he's got to drop him off.
Maybe they do something with the shakeup for that too. You never know.
Maybe, but
that'd be the best case scenario at this point.
The thing is, I think that like Ray wants this to keep going. Yeah. I think Ray enjoys working with his son and wants to stay working with his son and wants to continue to be around his family. And I think that that this was something that they probably talked about when they re-signed him.
Probably. It was definitely in the contract.
So I have a hard, as much as I hate it, I can't give WWE that much crap over it because I think this is a Rey Mysterio thing more than it is a WWE thing.
Probably. But let's get into this part of the night. It's supposed to be Sasha Banks versus Bianca Belair for the Smackdown Women's Championship, and Sasha had to pull out. We don't really know the reason why, but hope she's okay. And whatever the reason is, she had to pull out for. It was announced that her opponent was going to be Carmella. So Carmella comes down to the ring. Everyone's pissed off because no one wants to see Bianca and Carmella. Literally nobody wants to see Bianca and Carmella. And no offense to either one, but it's a lopsided match. Then Becky Lynch comes out. Great ovation, great return. Very happy to see Becky Lynch. She had her kid, took some time off, recovered from her pregnancy and all that. Looks in fantastic shape, looking great. So then they decide to run Bianca and Becky for the SmackDown Women's Championship right here, right now at SummerSlam. Great. I'm expecting a nice, 10, 15-minute classic,
something,
back and
just
forth.
A little something.
Match ends in under 30 seconds. And Bianca, basically, I'm saying it right now, Becky buried Bianca on the spot. Nothing against Becky in this situation, but it's frustrating. It's just frustrating because Bianca, won the Rumble, has all this momentum, was a top star on SmackDown since basically January, won the title in a historic match with Sasha in the main event of night 1 of WrestleMania. And I hate to say it, but it feels like Kofi all over again. It literally just feels like Kofi all over again. And I hate to say this too, but what's the one thing that these two have in common? The color of their skin. You never know the people backstage of what they feel still. A lot of the old heads back there, Vince McMahon and company, you don't know what they feel. Not calling them racist at any point, but you never know. And it's just, it's beyond frustrating for me. Beyond frustrating to see this.
Yeah, I don't dispute that Becky should have won or, how they kind of even did things because we don't know what's going on with Sasha and all that. I will have a problem if they just faked the Sasha stuff just to bring Becky back because as a reactionary thing for CM Punk pretty much because she got a huge pop when she came out, obviously.
Yeah, and she didn't do much either, so it didn't look like she was really ready to, have a match.
So I don't know. It just I am fully in favor of them having a short match. I don't even care if Becky wins on a roll up.
A roll up, exactly.
Or something like do a little match, leave something. I know obviously you want to build a whole thing with them, but now you kind of can't because it feels like if Bianca wins the next match, which she won't, but if she did, then what was the point? What was Becky caught her off guard, but how? You're Bianca Belair. You're the smartest, the best, the most athletic. How did you get outsmarted by a literal handshake?
So stupid.
Also, that was a total heel tendency of Becky that nobody's talking
Yeah,
about.
And that's the rumor that they're
cheated.
Turning her heel.
Yeah, well, she didn't cheat, but that's something a heel does. It's oh yeah, handshake, and then does a rock bottom.
Yeah,
but
it was just too short. I agree with you too that if the match went a little longer or a roll up or something to that nature, but literally just like you said, a rock bottom and then a pin.
At this point, I hope they keep Bianca off TV until the shakeup and move her to Raw. Don't address it. Don't talk about it. I don't care. Let it have just been. Move her to Raw. Have her become champion pretty soon on Raw.
Horrible. Just do what you got to do. Maybe later on down the line, you do a Bianca, Charlotte, Becky thing where Bianca comes out on top, or you do Bianca, Rhea, Charlotte, Becky, something along those lines. But I don't want to see Bianca, Becky again. And even if it's a great 20-minute match, Becky's just going to win again because
it feels like, okay, Bianca was only champion and only looked so strong and only did all those things because Becky was gone.
Exactly.
Which is what we're seeing on Raw with Charlotte.
Yeah.
It's, oh yeah, Rhea and Bianca, these young, superstars taking over the women's division. Just kidding. Charlotte and Becky are back.
Missed 11, 12-time champion Charlotte. Don't worry, we're going to talk about that real soon. But we got to talk about a little crap in between that should have also been on the kickoff show, and that's McIntyre and Jinder Mahal. I get you want to get I understand you want to get McIntyre on the main card.
That's all this was. That's all it was.
And I don't even want to touch on it. I mean, he beat Mahal. We all expected it. This match was about a motorcycle and a sword. That's basically the storyline going into it.
So his cronies came down at the end.
Yes.
Do you think this feud isn't over?
It probably continues into Saudi. Probably does. I don't know. Maybe McIntyre teams up with Mansoor and Ali to verse those three.
The problem with Drew is what do you do with him now? Where do you put him? Because he fought everybody as champion. He did everything as champion. So now you realistically would put him back in the championship thing, but it's just him and Lashley again. And we've already seen.
And the stipulation was if he lost to Lashley, he can't challenge him for the title.
Challenge again.
I think the move is honestly just moving him to SmackDown. That's a good, end of the year feud.
Here's the only thing with SmackDown that I think doesn't work. Unless Roman wants to lose the belt. SmackDown now has Brock and they have Roman.
Yeah.
I don't know where Drew fits in there unless Roman's going to take time off. Roman definitely could take some time off. He's literally been carrying the company on his back for literally a year now since he came back.
A year. Yeah, almost held the title for a whole year. So
if Roman does, decide to take some time off, kind of good for him, let him kind of rest. And then maybe you could do Brock, Drew again. But
that's fine. I'm okay with that. I still think Roman should lose the title soon, take time off till the Rumble, win the Rumble, and then, do something that way.
Yeah, because allegedly the plan is still Roman Rock for Hollywood Mania.
Yeah.
So, but that's like 2 years away, isn't it still?
Yeah, 2 years, because this year is Dallas. And then Big E's still Money in the Bank. So we got to figure out what we're going to do with that too. So, All right, let's get into, the Raw Women's title triple threat. Charlotte won. That's all you guys need to know. Charlotte won, Miss 11th, 12-time champion she is.
She came out in the Thanos gear.
She
was inevitable.
Fitting. I like Charlotte though. I like this gimmick with Charlotte, that she's actually like embracing the fact that she's, she's not like just a baby face anymore or whatever, any of that. I like heel Charlotte. I just don't understand the whole point of the whole Nikki thing now, because obviously Nikki without the belt is just going to sink back into catering, and that's it. She's not going to be on television anymore. I don't think within like the next month she's going to be phased out little by little.
This was Charlotte Rhea again. They just put Nikki in there.
They just threw Nikki in there.
This was just Rhea Charlotte again. And I assume Extreme Rules is probably going to be Nikki and Charlotte.
Probably one-on-one. Yeah.
And then I'd assume Charlotte. The only way I see Charlotte lose is they want to rack up the title count again. So if she loses at Extreme Rules, Nikki wins the title back. And then she kind of keeps that momentum.
Honestly, with Rick not being in the company anymore, I can see it. I can see him just racking up them title victories just to pass it. Titles. Yeah, just to pass it. But that happened, and not much to talk about anymore with that. So let's get into my match of the night. This was a phenomenal match from the entrances, with Edge coming out with the Brood entrance. I thought it was a good touch to, rekindle what he did on Friday with the Brood bath on Seth, because that was fun. but no, this is just a classic match. Edge could still work at whatever age he is. He's phenomenal, and it went to it helped him a lot that he was with Seth Rollins too. One of the better in-ring talents in the company, in the world, honestly.
Edge is 47,
and he's better than maybe half the roster. Maybe half the roster.
For sure. Because he doesn't need to do these crazy moves or anything. He just tells the story with the moves that he can do. He doesn't need to do anything special. He can just get beaten up, hit an edge-o-matic, hit an educator, a little execution, anything with Edge.
Anything with Edge.
He can do all those things. He does. He's really gotten into the crossface.
And he won the match by submission too, which was really interesting to see. I didn't expect that. It doesn't make Seth look weak to me. It just makes Edge look stronger, which is cool. I just thought all around it was just a great, like you said, he doesn't have to do the 420, 650, whatever flippy dips and all that stuff. Like you said, that's why the greatest wrestling match, the name greatest wrestling match with Orton and Edge was so good too, because both of those guys are so similar in storytelling and move wise and all that. But it was good. I really enjoyed this.
It was really good. I don't want to see it again. I think they did literally everything they had to do. I think Seth and Edge can both move on from this, and you do not need to make this a 3-month, storyline. No, this very much should have been a 1-month storyline. The only thing that's going to complicate it now is Brock coming back. Yeah. Because realistically, Edge should go back up to world title contention because he beat Seth, because he's almost beat Roman multiple times. But now that Brock is back, but do we see Brock at Extreme Rules?
No.
There's no way.
No.
He did Extreme Rules with Cena the one year.
Yeah, that's when he first came back, though.
That's when he first came back, yeah.
Yeah. The only thing is, I don't know where both of these guys go from here. That's my only concern. Is Edge, they already ran Edge Roman. Maybe you throw Seth Roman now, but they're both kind of heels, so it's kind of iffy. Edge, I don't even know what you do with Edge, honestly, at this point.
Yeah, I really struggle to know what to do with Edge, because it sucks that Roman is having such an incredible reign, because in any other world, you just slap the belt on Edge, do a ton of dream match scenarios that you couldn't do before. But
and honestly, that might be the route too. Who knows?
Maybe you move him to Raw.
That'd be a good name for Raw, because Raw's kind of lacking a little bit with the bigger names.
Honestly, over the next couple weeks, I think WWE. I think the next couple weeks is going to be really important for the next year, because I think you need to change one of the champions. You need to change one of Lashley or Roman. Big E should be cashing in at some point, and then with the shakeup, you should be shaking up a good amount of the main eventers. So I would love if Big E cashed in on Lashley moves to SmackDown, then you could probably finally get that Bobby Lashley Brock match. Maybe you can move Edge over to Raw, you get Edge, Big E, you can kind of do things like that. But right now, I just don't want them to do a shakeup and not move Lashley or Drew or Roman or AJ. The main event scene at the top has gotten very, very redundant on both shows, especially on SmackDown, because there is genuinely nobody left for Roman besides Brock Lesnar.
Yep. No, I 100% agree. And we're going to have to stay tuned to see what they do with that. Let's get into our second to last match of the night, which was Bobby Lashley defeating Goldberg to retain his championship. They had to stop the match almost at one point. It was like, it looked like a work. I mean, I don't even know what to make.
I think it was a work.
Yeah, but Goldberg in ring just didn't look good as well, and otherwise he looked horrible in ring. Like,
he's old.
I know.
He's an old man who doesn't. Don't get me wrong. I love big matches of like as much as I love technical wrestling and all that, big meaty men just hitting and running at each other. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Goldberg can't do that because while he is a big, meaty man, he's also old. You can't trust him to lift people. No. You can't trust him. Like, you can't ask a wrestler to put their faith in Goldberg. He's concussed many. Even in his prime.
Almost killed The Undertaker, too.
Literally ended Bret Hart's career.
Yeah.
So, like, it was fine. It is what it was.
It was a Goldberg match. Yeah, it was fine.
I think they told the story that Goldberg was absolutely going to win until MVP hit him with the cane.
That's exactly what they were telling.
That's entirely what it was. Bobby couldn't get a single move in.
No.
Until Goldberg got hurt.
Which I think there's 2 more matches now, but let's talk about what happened.
Is it 2 more, or was the SummerSlam?
I'm going to say the worst case scenario, which is 2 more. So that brings into the fact of what happened after the match was Bobby Goldberg's son coming in and Lashley putting him in the Hurt Lock, which I honestly thought was fantastic. We were talking about it on the previous podcast. If the son did get involved and catch a spear or something, and he's like 15 years old,
like 14 years old.
I know, and he got in the Hurt Lock. And then MVP is trying to like defend Lashley, saying like, "Hey, he didn't know who that was." Like, because that's a minor. You can't be doing that to a minor.
Could have been any fan.
Oh, it's so funny. I thought that was great. But what I don't think is great is that this storyline is continuing. And what I also don't think is great as well is that the next pay-per-view is in Saudi Arabia. And what do they like doing in Saudi Arabia? They like doing stuff that make the Saudi Arabians happy, not the casual, like they are the casual
90s
fans.
Wrestling.
Exactly. So if there's 2 matches left on this contract, reiterating back to that, I can easily see Goldberg winning the championship in Saudi Arabia. And obviously, like he does every single time, losing it in his next defense. And that scares me.
But his son gets to see him as a champ. He's never seen that before. Even though Goldberg has won the championship multiple times
against 2 of my favorite wrestlers, Bray Wyatt and Kevin Owens. So screw you, Goldberg. I don't care if that's not professional or not. I'm over it. I don't want it. But let's get to the main event time, and another great match. Fantastic match right here. The dream match, the match we've been all waiting for. Cena, Roman Reigns. I thought it was fantastic. It was the first time Cena really felt like an underdog in a match.
Since like the Brock saga that went on.
Yeah, Cena felt very underdog, like didn't get much offense in at all, not Super Cena like at all. Roman kind of took over that role of Super Cena. It felt like Roman was just dominating the whole time, and I thought that was the right way to tell this match, because Cena hasn't been in a legit wrestling match in like 3 years or so.
500 something days or something like that.
He did the stuff with Elias at Mania. He did the Firefly Funhouse match, but he hasn't been inside the ring in a legit match like this in a while. So I thought that was the perfect story to tell, especially because of how dominant Roman has been over the last year. I thought that was perfect. The false finishes were fantastic in this match. There's about 2 or 3 times where they fooled me.
The Super AA got me.
That guy.
I was like, nobody kicks out of the Super AA.
And Roman did.
And I was like, but Roman's probably going to. And then the hand hit for 2. And I was like, maybe. And then he kicked out.
Yeah, but I know you're the big Cena fan here. What did you think about this match?
I thought it was good. I thought it did what it needed to. Good story of Roman just beating the crap out of John, but John just continuously coming back no matter what, over and over and over. He almost got choked out like numerous times, but still kept coming back. I think that works for Cena. He said all along in the build-up, like, I don't have to be better than you. I don't have to be a good wrestler. I can just get the crap beaten out of me for so much longer than anybody else you've ever dealt with. He's like, I built a whole thing on getting the crap kicked out of me. So I think that worked. I thought the story they told was really good. And then obviously the ending with Brock.
Fantastic.
Which he gave Cena suplexes before he left.
Yeah, I thought that was funny. First, Brock had the new look, which we saw, on social media a couple weeks ago with the bearded Brock and the ponytailed Brock. And my biggest, I love Brock being back, especially not really expecting Brock to be back. It's been over a year since Brock too. Last time we saw him was when he lost to McIntyre. Lost the WWE Championship to McIntyre. So it's been a good amount of time without Brock. And it looks like they're running with Brock as a baby face.
Yeah, I'd assume so.
The way he taunted to the crowd, interrupted the biggest heel in the company, Roman Reigns. And I'm just curious to see what they do with the storyline with Paul Heyman, because Brock can't cut promos for his life. And obviously Heyman is on the hip of Roman now. So I'm just curious to see where the story goes and when this match is taking place. I'm assuming Saudi, I want to say.
Probably because he's Brock. What was it? It was last time Brock went, he got paid like $4 million
just to
or
go.
something to go to Saudi. They gave Shawn Michaels like $6 million to come out of retirement.
That's ridiculous.
Like, it's stupid money.
It is. And honestly, if I'm a wrestler too, I'm taking that money.
Oh, for sure. I had said while watching, and we were talking about Saudi, I was like, at this point, I would go, and like half the money I would get, I would just like donate to something against Saudi. But at least then, kind of getting both ways. You take their money, and you support a cause.
And exactly. But no, that's SummerSlam. And before we get into Takeover, what is your rating out of 10 for this show? It was a roller coaster, this show. There was a lot of bad, but also some good.
Probably like a 7.5. 7.5. I'll go.
I'm gonna go with a 7 on the dot. Like I said, the bads were bad, but the moments, I'm looking at the moments. Brock returning was good. Just the return of Becky was good. The Edge match was good. Roman Cena was good. The goods were good.
The goods were good. My main problem was, besides the Becky moment, if you stop after RK Bro, like Alexa Bliss, Eva Marie sucked. Damien Priest, Sheamus, fine match, didn't really care that much about it. Usos, Mysterios, can't really get into Dominic and all that. Becky, Bianca, great moment, didn't really have a match.
No.
Drew, Jinder, couldn't pay me to watch it, don't care. Charlotte, Nikki, Rhea, it was just what we had been seeing before with Nikki thrown in. Like, majority of that chunk, card is like, we were just like waiting. We're like, okay, like, when do we get Edge, Seth?
Exactly.
Are we gonna get them in the middle, and then we get 2 crap matches, and then we get to the main events? Like, what are we doing at a certain point?
Yeah, it should have been spaced a little better instead of having the 2 title matches, the last 2 matches of the show, and especially one before that being Edge and Rollins. It was spaced out very badly. Very, very badly.
There was 5 or 6 matches in a row that was just like, who cares?
Stinkers, straight stinkers.
But, obviously Cena coming back, that's huge. That's going to add points on. Edge Seth was one of the best matches of the year. So that's obviously going to probably right there with Cena and Roman and Brock's return and Edge and Seth. That's probably like a 7.
Exactly.
So the 0.5 for me is like the RK Bro match.
That was cool.
And like, that's it.
Yeah, I agree. All right, and let's quickly just jump into Takeover. We're not in a timer, so we got all the time that we need, but there's only 5 matches on the Takeover. And I thought this was a great show. I thought this was a really, really good show. Great matches all the way from top to bottom. Not one stinker for me. Really, really good show. A lot of notable things happened. So, and one superstar we have to talk about, that's future is really, in the question right now of what company he's going to be with. So we'll get to that when we get to that match. But let's start off with the opener, which was Grimes and LA Knight going at each other for the $1 Million Championship. And if Grimes lost, Ted DiBiase will be LA Knight's butler. And I just think these 2 guys work together really, really well. I always said LA Knight was very, very similar to EC3. Great on the mic, great physique, just overall appearance, great appearance as a wrestler. But seeing LA Knight with the $1 Million title and the ladder match and this match, he's a way better wrestler than EC3.
Oh yeah, in ring wise,
Yeah,
for sure.
and Cameron Grimes is showing again, why he's so good, even like before all of this gimmick that he's just thrived with as, hitting, all the stocks and all that stuff. I thought it was fantastic. And like we talked about earlier in the show too, using legends correctly. This was the right way to use a legend in Ted DiBiase.
Oh yeah.
It was perfect. It was perfect with the championship, having him at ringside or on commentary the last couple of weeks. It was just, the main roster needs to take an example of that. That's how you use a legend in a storyline. And if he sticks around and becomes Grimes' manager, great. If not, he doesn't need him because Grimes can do it all on himself too.
Yeah. Fun fact, LA Knight and EC3 are the same age. They're both 38.
Ew. Oh, 38. Wow.
So is Damien Priest.
Wow.
But no, this was a really good match. I enjoyed it. I love Grimes. I love him as a heel. I love him as a babyface. He's funny. He's really good. At pretty much whatever you give him, he's gonna be funny. He's gonna be exciting. He's gonna be charismatic. LA Knight also is good. I'm surprised at how much the name doesn't bother me as much anymore, because I really used to not like LA Knight. But it's kind of like, whatever. Like,
I think he kind of incorporated the gimmick into the name, like the whole like Hollywood type
Hollywood thing. Yeah,
it works. It works better than I thought it would.
Yeah, for sure. But no, like you said, this is exactly how you do a legend, like exactly the way you put it. Ted DiBiase, he was good. He was funny. He did 2 moves. That's all he needed to do. They weren't even, in the ring, or no bumps involved. Just threw the belt in the ring, distracted the ref, and then hit him with the $1 million dreams.
That's all you got to do.
Perfect.
It got a nice pop from the crowd.
Yep.
Thank God the crowd was involved, not like a couple takeovers ago when they were dead silent. So that's good. And let's get on to the next match, which was the NXT Women's Champion Raquel Gonzalez defending her title against former best friend Dakota Kai. And, it was fine, this match. Raquel, I feel like for the last, she's debuted a year and a half ago now. Every match, I feel like she just improves. I'm really liking what they've done with Raquel in this championship, from the sidekick of Dakota to kind of the centerpiece of this women's division. And it was a great match. And I'm curious to see where Dakota goes from here. That's my only criticism.
Dakota should go main roster.
She should, right?
She really should, in my opinion. Or latch on to like another kind of big, wrestler.
Dewdrop.
Yeah, I was honestly thinking move her up and put her with Dewdrop, but she could go back into like the NXT women's tag team realm, maybe. I'd personally move her up though.
I would too.
This was a good match. I really enjoyed this match. It felt a couple times like Dakota might have Raquel, just because this was one of the better storytelling matches that I can remember of actually showing how speed can like outmaneuver power. I haven't seen them do it that well since probably like the Brock Survivor Series matches with Finn and Brian and AJ. Like, besides those, I haven't really seen it. This one was Raquel constantly trying to get her hands on Dakota, and Dakota always slipping away and like giving her little kicks and here and there, just doing enough to keep Raquel off of her and just hitting like the big moves. And then, obviously she gets Raquel up on the top rope, is going for the kick, and then Raquel just grabbing her, picking her up and planting her. Great ending.
Fantastic ending. I agree. And right after that, Kaylee Ray comes out from NXT UK, which, adds to the women's roster there.
The crowd did not care. Did not know who she was.
Nope. I just remember the theme song from, I think, a couple like War Games ago, because she was on one of the War Games teams. So the theme song rang a bell, but I couldn't remember who it was right away. But looks like that's the next feud, so we'll see where that goes from there. But not bad, not a bad start so far for NXT. And it gets even better with this match right here. Ilya Dragunov, Walter, NXT UK Championship. I'm gonna say this now. We're in August. This so far, match of the night, 100% for me so far. 100%. Ilya Dragunov, Walter, match of the night. I want to say this is my match of the year right now. I really, really want to say this is my match of the year. I don't watch NXT UK, so I don't really see Ilya that much. I've become familiar to Walter because he comes over once in a while, but just seeing Ilya the last couple of weeks on NXT and the story that they're telling, and Walter's held this title for almost 3 years now,
longest in the modern era of any title that I can think of.
Yeah, it's been a while, and just the size differential, and the brutality of the moves, and you saw Ilya's chest and his neck, and his back,
it was
and
purple,
the welts in purple and red and all different kinds of colors. And in Ilya won. That's the thing that put the cherry on top for me of this match, is that it wasn't just another Walter win at the end. Granted, I love Walter, but Ilya won the match. And it just really made him a star in this match. So that's why it's my match of the night. And I have to look back at some of the other matches, but probably my match of the year.
Yeah, it was a really good, honestly, like the only thing that stops me from saying it's a match of the year is that it's a Walter match that we've kind of seen before, not taking anything away from it, obviously, but it was kind of styled how a Walter match is. The obvious difference being that he lost this time, which he hasn't lost since don't know how long.
Ever.
But
didn't he get like buried at Survivor Series?
That sounds, yeah. He was the first one eliminated, wasn't he?
He was.
I think, yeah.
Of
yeah.
course.
So Survivor Series. But no, this match was really good. It was time for Walter to lose the belt, because even if you're not moving him to regular NXT or he won't come to the main roster or anything, he's done absolutely everything he can do with that belt. There is nothing else there. I'd love for him to come to regular NXT, become, like a Walter Samoa Joe NXT Championship match. Yeah, sign me up. I would love that. I wish Walter would come over to the States.
Yeah, no, I would too. I don't think it's gonna happen.
I don't think he was. I think he hates coming to the States.
I think so too. And honestly, I don't blame the guy. But now, great match, great moment with Ilya winning. Fantastic stuff. And we'll see what happens with Walter from here on out. But great stuff. And 2 more matches left on our slate before we wrap this up. And we are starting with the best of 3, or 2 out of 3 falls match, whatever you want to call it. Kyle O'Reilly, Adam Cole.
I'm gonna say this before we start. This is my worst Kyle O'Reilly Adam Cole match.
I agree.
I think this is like not far and away, because it was still a good match, but like I didn't think this needed to happen personally. Like once we got to the end, I was just like,
Well, the ending of the whole match was very underwhelming. Very underwhelming. The last fall in the steel cage match, I thought that was completely underwhelming. It was good. It was good. But the thing that this all comes back to is Adam Cole. And I didn't want to believe the rumors. I thought it was just a whole rumor thing that he's leaving or potentially leaving. That's why I picked him to win. I was like, oh, maybe he's gonna shut up everybody and stay or not. But it put a little sour taste. Like, he's gone.
Here was my main problem, was the structure of it, because first match was over within 5 minutes. Like O'Reilly, rolled him up, whatever, that was fine. So the bulk of the match was the second fall, which was anything goes.
The street fight, yeah.
So Cole eventually wins that, but that match went on for so long.
Like 15, 20 minutes, yeah.
And then the steel cage felt like it also went like 5 minutes again.
Yeah. It was
so it was like, okay, well, this was a 3 stages of hell, but one of them was a normal match. And then third place, like, the steel cage didn't matter.
No, they didn't really.
They didn't incorporate the cage.
No. It was a little just underwhelming, this match for me.
And this also annoyed me. The ending of the match frustrated me so much, because it made Cole look like an idiot. Like, Cole is one of the smartest superstars in NXT. Why did he handcuff O'Reilly to the rope and not the cage?
Exactly.
Because the cage is more restricting. The cage has no give. What are you going to do to the cage? The cage is there. Why would you not do that? fine, whatever. You need Riley to put him in the submission. Okay. Framework, there's a kendo stick literally on Cole's hand.
On his hand,
Why would Cole not grab the kendo stick? Like, I'm supposed to believe that Kyle O'Reilly's leg lock, which he's used on Adam Cole in matches before, and Cole has sat in for minutes upon minutes. I'm supposed to believe now that that leg lock is so devastating that Cole needed to tap out in 5 seconds and couldn't even try to grab the kendo stick. Like, what if he grabbed it and Kyle just like kicked it away or something? Or he went to do it and Kyle stopped him.
And if that's telling me anything, I don't want to blame Adam Cole, but it's telling me he's done. It's straight up telling me he's done in a way, I feel.
Honestly, I hope so.
I
do.
The thing is, I of course I would love. I don't want him to stay in NXT. I don't want Cole to stay in NXT. Would I love Cole to go to the main roster? Yeah, I think it'd be cool if it's used right and put in the top main event scene, which is not going to happen. That's the thing. It's not going to happen. And what does AEW have? It has opportunity. It has, the ability to use. Cole's not the youngest anymore.
Britt Baker.
There you go. Britt Baker too.
And has his friends.
Yeah.
I don't know. Don't get me wrong. There's a big part of me that still is like, Cole could just easily resign. WWE, see, but here's the other thing that I go through with that. I'm like, WWE clearly has the money. If they want to keep Cole, they can keep Cole.
Oh yeah,
but here's the other thing: they've actively not re-signed people. They've actively released and cut money. So one, how much would Cole want? If I'm Adam Cole, I'd want a decent amount.
Yeah.
But also, how much does WWE actually want to spend right now? You heard on the conference call of Vince McMahon saying, yeah, give AEW more talent. We don't need this many people. And
they're cutting the wrong people. That's the
exactly
thing.
I get it with, Peyton Royce, nothing against her, but they weren't doing anything with her. Give her an opportunity to go somewhere else. You don't need to pay her. Somebody else will pay her. I get that. Adam Cole is like on the Mount Rushmore of NXT.
For sure.
He's up there with, you could argue he's up there with Johnny as one or two of NXT and kind of the face of NXT.
I agree.
And what you think of when you hear NXT. When I hear NXT, I think of Johnny Gargano and I think of Adam Cole.
Exactly.
So you're going to let Cole walk potentially to a better situation that I think will use him better. I'd honestly rather see him leave. I don't trust the main roster. I really don't.
The thing is, I want to see him on the main roster, but I agree that I don't trust him. And if he's successful in AEW, which honestly, that's a great person to dethrone Kenny Omega, honestly, for the championship, I think that'd be fantastic. I'll be okay either way because I'm gonna watch it no matter what. Because I've the last couple months I've been watching AEW every week, so I'm okay either way. He'll still be on my television, but I'd like to see him succeed in WWE, but I just don't know if that's gonna happen. That's the thing. And if he goes to AEW, he goes to AEW, and I know he'll succeed there. That's the thing.
Yeah. I still think there is a chance though that WWE just brings him back, and he seems like a Triple H guy. Triple H seems to have always really done right by Adam Cole and to really like him and
just scary.
Enjoy what he's brought. But
it's just scary because then he could have his career ruined if he goes to Raw or something. Yeah. And just chasing around a 24/7 championship.
Look at Ricochet.
Yeah.
I mean, Ricochet, I don't think anybody ever expects him to recover. Go back and watch the Adam Cole Ricochet match from whatever takeover it was, the singles for the North American Championship.
Brooklyn 4, yeah.
Brooklyn 4, one of the best matches I've ever seen. Yeah. And you have these guys that are so incredibly talented, and it doesn't always matter.
No, and they want to push, bring back Goldberg and push other guys who are, bring back Eva Marie and all that crap. That's frustrating.
Look at the champions right now. I mean, Lashley, Drew, Roman, right Damien Priest. They're big guys. Big E's holding the belt. The briefcase.
Reverting back to the 80s, it seems like almost. Literally.
Every main eventer is like a big, burly guy for
like
the most
6'3", at least 6'4", 250 pounds. Yeah, no, it's crazy. Let's wrap this up. One last match on the card, which was Karrion Kross and Samoa Joe. Very predictable match, I would say, just because of Kross appearing on Raw the last couple of weeks and kind of, foreshadowed that he was losing the belt. And Joe did well. For not stepping in the ring for a long time. I was happy to see Joe back. He did great, and now he's the NXT champion. So that's cool too. That's another cool
first ever 3-time.
There you go, first ever 3-time. I thought the match was fine. Wasn't anything too special, but
it's a Karrion Kross match.
Exactly.
I mean,
Kross isn't that special without Scarlett anyway, so I have no idea where she is.
I think she's hurt. She's got to be hurt.
She has to be.
Because they said the plan is to bring her back with him once she can. The entrance looks stupid without her.
Very.
Entrance looks bad. Like he's just walking, just brooding, and then he gets to the ring and like just starts yelling.
And this is another case for Adam Cole too. You already saw. We're recording this on Tuesday. You already saw how he was used on Monday Night Raw. I mean, granted, he's winning matches against Ricochet and Jeff Hardy.
Yeah, Kross is miles set up more than Cole. Because he's big and he's big. Strong.
Yeah, but they're already making him look stupid with mask and suspenders. They're already like ruining what was like the character of Karrion Kross. Like McMahon must have heard the word Karrion.
How long do you think he's Kross? Or like
it might be Karrion. I might be Karrion.
Maybe they'll just call him Spartacus.
Spartacus, it's bad. And if Cole sees that and if they continue to do crap like that, go to AEW. But now that's Takeover. And just a quick rating out of 10 before we wrap this up. I'm gonna give this. I'll give it 8.
Yeah, I'll go 8 as well.
8. Okay, yeah, it was about an 8.
I think the future matches with Joe as champion will be better because I think Joe still really has something and is still really good. He just doesn't match that well with Karrion Kross.
I agree. Too beefy, similar-ish guys. No, I agree. And just everything else was pretty decent, for the most part. So, all right, that does it for this episode of the Sports Department Podcast. Thank you guys for listening. Make sure you guys subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. Follow our social media on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at SportsDepthPod. That's Sports DEPT Pod. We're going to be continuing breaking down all the NFL divisions. MLB season starting to wrap up soon. Basketball comes back in a couple months. So, sports and stuff, wrestling. We're probably going to throw in a recap in another week or so just to break down everything after SummerSlam. So stay tuned to all that fun stuff, and we'll see you in the next episode.